Did NASCAR get it wrong? No, I shouldn't say that. Did they jump the gun? Maybe. Yes.
Hello, my name is Kyle and welcome to my channel, and this is The Conservative Take. In this video, we're going to cover the Bubba Wallace story again, this time after confirmation that it was shocking, ding, 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 a hoax. 100% hoax. And there's an interview that he did with Don Lemon last night on CNN. I will play some clips. I put together a quick video. I mashed it together just to give you some key points of what they're saying. Anyway, I also want to talk about that. I want to talk about the FBI finding. And then I'm going to talk about something on the other end of it as to why I think this kind of stuff is happening with Colin Kaepernick, with people like Sean King, this guy here, and other people that are just trying to use the race baiting deal as a way to get attention or whatever. I'm going to get into that just a little bit. And so to kick this thing off, let's begin with this. So it says here that Bubba Wallace goes full Kaepernick. Despite evidence, doubles down on false Noose claim. Before NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace appeared on CNN with Don Lemon to discuss his now disproven racial Noose targeting, he had a decision to make. Wallace could accept the FBI NASCAR finding and admit an honest mistake was made by overly sensitive Richard Petty racing team. Sounds good to me. Or he can make racism his new identity in NASCAR as Colin Kaepernick did with football in the NFL. Let me see. Which one would he choose? Would it be the right thing or would it be the yes, he chose the latter. And as a result, Wallace's new identity and his announced career goals, NASCAR will now fragment into the same way the NFL did. Social justice will now define Mr. Wallace's professional effort. Driving with NASCAR becomes a method to achieve his new career aspirations. That inflection point, his identity choice, is clear in this interview. And see, hey, you know what? Victimhood is money, okay? And I have a source who was telling me about this driver. He's a fan of Richard Petty Racing. He said this guy was outside of NASCAR. Nobody knew who this guy was. He won a few races in the truck circuit, but didn't do much last year in the season. And he just isn't doing well. And that he potentially could be out of a sponsor, and that he could really be, it could be a situation where he's pretty much kicked out of NASCAR. And so it just seems to me that this is really, really a timely thing to happen for him. So I just put that out there. I'm not trying to say one way or the other, but it is kind of suspicious how Kaepernick was actually not doing well as a quarterback. And now you have this guy not doing well as a race car driver, chance of losing sponsors. And this comes out. You figured it out for yourself. I think I've already made my own determination on this. So this statement comes from the Richard Petty Motorsports. It says on Sunday, June 21st, members of Richard Petty Motorsports discovered a rope tied to the fashion of a noose in the garage stall assigned to the team at Talladega, Alabama Super Speedway. In accordance with established protocols, our team members notified the crew chief, who notified NASCAR of the presence of the item in the garage stall. NASCAR leadership determined the course of action going forward with an immediate investigation into the item and its possible origins. In the early stages of the investigation, NASCAR Steve Phelps notified Darrell Bubba Wallace Jr. of the information gathered and the presence of the item in the garage stall of his team. Richard Petty Motorsports fully cooperated with the NASCAR and authorities as they conducted an investigation into the situation. As a result of further investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, it was found that the item was not directed towards Wallace or members of the team. No member of Richard Petty Motorsports nor Wallace had any involvement with the presence of the rope. We are thankful for the swift and thorough investigation by NASCAR and all of the authorities involved. We are also appreciative of the support from NASCAR, the motorsports industry, and our fans. Fans, don't leave us, please. Please don't leave us. So there you go. And so you can't make this stuff up. Obviously, Richard Petty's team are socially woke and enlightened to their obligations in a new era of racial sensitivity. Notice the careful wording. discovered a rope tied in the fashion of a noose. Keyword fashion in quotes. The careful wording allows the statement to skirt on the fringes of common sense truth because they don't technically say it's a noose, quite simply because it wasn't. If it were a noose, it would have been as useless as a garage door pull. So that brings up the second obtuse aspect of the sentence, discovered a rope. Notice they don't say it was attached to the garage door, which it was, because that would make their misinterpretation seem even more ridiculous. Saying we discovered a garage door pull down rope that appeared to be the fashion of a noose would elicit eye rolls, right? So they carefully avoid noting their stupidity by ignoring common sense. Yeah, it pretty much goes on. I'm gonna leave a link to this article. It goes on and on. I'm not gonna read all this. I kind of want to cover the Don Lemon article, but I do want to say this. Look, the FBI sent 15 agents to the situation, and they can do that, but somehow they can't find people to go and protect our national monuments. Just saying, guys, come on. This is kind of ridiculous. I don't, it's obviously what was happening here, and the question remains whether or not he knew about it or not. He sure as heck is taking full advantage of what's going on now. So with that, I'm going to show you this clip right here that I mashed together. It's about a minute long. Check this out.
I'm pissed. I'm mad because people are trying to test my character and the person that I am and my integrity, and they're not stealing that away from me, but they're just trying to test that. And I get a phone call from the president, Steve Phelps, and it's a phone call, Don, that I'll never forget. It's one of those phone calls where you can automatically tell within the first couple seconds that something's wrong. Mm-hmm. And that he had on his face alerted me in a way that I'll never forget as well. And it's still thinking like, okay, what did I do? Let me know. And never seen the noose. I never reported it. Like I said, I was going to dinner.
Let me jump in here. Simply reacting to what the head of NASCAR told you happened. Now listen, this is how I feel about it, okay? And people can think what they want. Did NASCAR get it wrong? No, I shouldn't say that. Did they jump the gun? Maybe, yes. But I am extremely happy with and I think most Americans are, what NASCAR is doing.
So as you can see in the interview, Don Lemon's like, hey, NASCAR messed up. And he's like, well, yeah, people are trying to come at me because they're dogging me out because of my integrity. I can't let that happen. It's being tested. They're trying to roll this thing back so they can kind of walk it back and they can go forward with a new narrative that makes more sense to people who have common sense. But meanwhile, Wallace is going to go forward with his stale career, use this to make a platform for himself, become more famous, and, make some money. I'm just saying, what else can we expect him to do at this point? He said early in the interview, I didn't show this, I'll leave a link to the whole interview below. He basically says, I don't care about the money, I don't care about the fame, I'm already famous. Okay, dude, whatever. Do you, whatever. But obviously, it seems like right now, it just seems like they're taking full advantage of this, and it blew up in the face after people with common sense and people like the conservative treehouse did some basic reporting. Yesterday I called it a superpower, and it really is, because it's such a rarity nowadays. You might as well just throw a cape on if you're a reporter doing information with the facts and giving it to the people with the intent of them figuring out for themselves what the real truth lies, because you presented both sides. And now to bring my point home, this may seem like a stretch to some of you, but I really do think that this is a valid point. And I'm a historian by nature. I cover Civil War, mostly Revolutionary War, and a little bit of the late 19th century. I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and I understand these two gentlemen behind me. One is named W.E.B. Du Bois, and the other one is Booker T. Washington. W.E.B. Du Bois was an educator. He went to Harvard, and Booker T. Washington was an industrialist, and he believed in self-determination through labor. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the foundations of their belief system, one is free labor capitalism, and the other is activism and protesting. And what I mean by that is that Booker T. Washington believed in free labor. The concept that the Republican Party and Abraham Lincoln really, really, really were strong on. The concept simply is this. If you work hard and all you have is just yourself, that is itself is enough, because labor is separate from income. Labor creates income. So if you create labor, you can create capital. If you create a little bit more capital, you can move into the middle class and become successful in society. That was that mentality and that mindset. And that's what Booker T. Washington was about in his idealism. On the other hand, W.B. Du Bois was more like, hey, you can protest for it, you can march for it, you can demand action, and that type of attitude really invoked a little bit of laziness. And I think that's what we're seeing here in some of these sports figures, right? Colin Kaepernick wasn't doing the best, but at the time that he decided to take a knee, and you have this guy here, Wallace. Well, from what I understand, he wasn't doing the best. He was doing okay, but he was in chance of losing sponsors. And then you have other people, you see their careers failing. So what do? They turn to activism to get something going so they can get something essentially for free. And especially with the climate we have now, there's money to be made, unfortunately, because the media jumps all over this stuff. And so I think going back to basic principles that were learned a long time ago, we can bring that to bear today. And that's the message that we can give to our family, to our kids, to just our friends, that in this country, we have so much opportunity, and that if we just have the labor of ourselves, that is enough to move ahead, especially given the opportunities we have in this country. So with that, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you like what I do on this channel where I take culture, TV, and movies and filter it right, please click that like and subscribe button and that bell icon so you don't miss any future content. And please share with your friends, because we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. Thank everyone else for subscribing recently. I got good uptick in subscribers, and I tried to comment on all the ones I could last night, and I'll try again tonight as well. I think I got most of them. But thank you so much for supporting the channel. We're growing crazily. I love it, and I want to get more information out to you. And so with that, please check out some content that we have right here.